Hi, Katrina Osman, CEO of Pure Bookkeeping, and I am joined with Debbie Roberts today. Hi, Deb.
Hi, Katrina. Great to be here.
Yes, it's always good to be able to have this opportunity to just share some of our experience and knowledge with other bookkeepers, so that we can enable them to, build the business that they want to build, one that gives them financial freedom and create a life of their own dreams. So that's what we are here today and every week, coming streaming to you. We're opened up a Zoom meeting as well, so you're welcome to join in. And today we're going to continue the conversation about the grow, profit, exit. So last week we talked about growth and the 3 different ideas or tips and tricks around, how to grow a business. So today we're going to be talking about the profit. So in particular, what we're going to talk about today is around your finances, making sure that you have got your finances covered, your budgeting, some KPIs, just make sure that your financial measures are looked at and accurate. Then we're going to talk about some pricing. So whether it's value pricing, fixed pricing, whatever that pricing model is for you, what works best for you. So we'll start talking about that. And then we're going to talk about the margins. So just checking in with your margins of, what you are, with your pricing and your staff costs, to make sure that you are making the correct margins within your business and, fixing on those KPIs. And we'll explore that a little bit more as well. So perhaps firstly, we'll get started with your financial, the finances side of it and the measures that we could be looking at. And I know, Deb, that you had set KPIs in your business, and, I know your coach had got you to get involved with that. So do you want to describe the KPIs that you had for your business?
Yes. Yeah, Peter Cook, who was my business coach for 10 years, in the very early stages, he needed a document, a one-pager really, that had my key performance indicators. So what are the things, the most critical numbers that you need to focus on? And because we were having monthly meetings, he wanted that in a snapshot. So we could look at one page and say, right, these are the income for the month, gross profit, net profit, what were your wages, etc., and a whole bunch of other things as well. What he taught me was how important that was. Before that, I was just flat out getting the invoicing done and getting the banking in, getting people to pay and things like that. There's a whole lot better ways of doing that now when people pay you in advance, when you talk about fixed fees and value pricing and things like that. But what was critical was the fact that we paused for a moment every month and assessed the numbers. And that took me a bit of time to get used to that. It was a new habit, because as I said, I was running around, I was very busy just going, great, okay, that's the billings done. Right, now what's the next thing? But it's looking back over what were those numbers, and did you reach the goals that you had set for the month? And it isn't just looking back over the last month, it's looking back over the last 3 months, and you look forward then to the next 3 months. And then you say, okay, if this is what happened and if we didn't quite reach where we expected to be, how is that going to extrapolate out to the next 3, 6, 9, 12 months? So you're constantly reconfiguring, just tweaking your goals, tweaking your what you need to do to achieve those goals. So if, for example, the income wasn't as high as what my goals were, then I needed to increase my marketing. That was the solution for that. So I would then focus on meeting with accountants, going to networking groups. So focusing on these KPIs affected my behavior. So about what I was going to do next, what actions were the most important thing that I needed to do in the next month to change those KPI numbers.
Yeah, and I had a very similar experience with my business as well, that I did put budgets in So I knew what my income should be over the next, the coming 12 months. And I did analyze that based on the clients that I had. And I did an Excel spreadsheet of documented the clients, documented what I expected from them in terms of, the bookkeeping and the seasons, because I didn't do like strict monthly fixed fees. It was hourly back then, which we will talk about, getting away from that. But, so I did have seasons where, July and August were a lot more money, and then September dropped off and October, November got. So I had my seasons in my budget, and I looked at them every month. And even before the month had finished, I did analyse, okay, my budget was that and my current sales are that. So I'm not hitting my targeted budgeted amount. So what do I need to do? I need to finish some work. I need to push harder, or do some finish off the invoicing, because invoicing is another one of our pain points for bookkeepers. Traditionally, we don't like to do our invoicing. So knowing I had to get a certain amount of money made me finish off work, finish my invoicing to achieve that dollar value. So yes, you could say, okay, that just brings the invoicing forward, but then the next month I have another amount to focus on and achieve. So what do I need to do in that month? And it just keeps going on, and it keeps you accountable and I think successful as well. I think those actions, those habits, build towards, building that successful business. If I was just say, oh, well, I didn't meet that budget, never mind, I'll won't worry about that. Never mind, that's the past, let's just move on. And then go for another month and go, okay, I didn't hit that budget. It doesn't push you forward. It doesn't push you towards success. So I think one of the biggest things that we also want to bring up today, Deb, is that it is important for every business owner to be looking at their own finances. And we tell our clients to be looking at finances, and we want to show them monthly, and we get really frustrated when they don't even look at the profit and loss when we send it to them quarterly. Whereas, often bookkeepers forget to look at their own figures. So I know it's one of your bugbears too.
Absolutely. And it's a bit like using the analogy of the plumber with the leaking tap, or the electrician with all the globes that have popped and things like that, and they get home late and they're busy and they think, oh no, I've got to keep doing that same kind of work that I've been doing during the day, helping other people fix their light globes and fix their leaking taps and things like that. And now I've got to keep my work gear on and keep doing it around my own house, and which is a very apt metaphor, really. And I think it's the discipline in that, in saying that you are running a professional business. And as Katrina said, when you, in an advisory capacity, try to educate your clients around I'm going to say try, because some of them, it can be a bit of a battle, but what the bookkeeping industry is heading towards is the advisory role, which is making yourself available to not just do the data entry and compliance, but all the fun stuff after that, which is what makes a difference to people's lives. So when you do the same for yourself, and this is a habit that I had to create, it was foreign to me when I first started it. And the KPI report, actually the very first item on that KPI report was that I completed this KPI report in the first week of every month. Because even the KPI report, I was finding I'd push that out and push that out and push that out. And then I wasn't looking at the numbers, even though I had this KPI report. So a lot, and I've said this to our licensees when I've explained the KPI report, and is that for me, it was a lot to do with helping me modify my behavior. So I created habits that were actually helpful to me, not just helpful, but were critical in making decisions about how I was going to grow my business and whether I was on track.
Yeah, and it really does push you towards that achievement. And we've joined with Helen. Helen, you're welcome to pop your screen on, your video on if you like. And if you've got any questions or if you want to make any comments, please feel free. Hi. feel
Hi,
free
Helen.
to contribute or ask us questions, and we're happy also to get you involved in the conversation. Great to have you here. The
Thanks,
other
guys.
thing around the finances is reviewing your costs. We get involved in so many subscriptions, we just take them on and we forget about them. We look at bright shiny things and opportunities there, so we just keep adding things to it. And the one thing that when I'm mentoring a lot of bookkeepers, that they feel as if their wage is the profit, is just the leftovers. So when I was mentored, they taught me to think of you as an employee, as you must get paid your wage. So set a wage, and it might be on the lower level that you wouldn't get. You'd expect to get a whole lot more if you went out to market, marketing yourself. But for your own business, let's set a wage and transfer an amount of wage every week or every month to make sure that you are getting paid a wage. If you don't get paid a wage and your business can't afford you, then you're doing something wrong, or why are you in business in the first place?
Well, exactly. You are actually not profitable, and that is one. And then knowing that is scary to start off with. This can happen in particular when you have staff. So you've got all the extra overheads. It's hard not to make a profit when you're working on your own and you've got your basic business needs and you've got your office and a few things like that. It's when you have staff that the money can hemorrhage out of your business if you don't have a tight grip on where it's going, who's doing what. Where are they doing unbillable hours? Are they spending time that should be better spent somewhere else? It's really about monitoring where your staff are spending their time, which my KPI report included the hours that my staff are spending as well.
Yeah. Helen, if you would like to come off mute, do you have what have you got around your finances? Have you got a budget in place? Do you monitor your finances at the moment?
I do every month. My videos come on, lovely. Sorry, I have in and out technical issues. I do. Katrina, your the bookkeeping mentor thing that I signed up for, still going with it very, very slowly, but I thought, well, I'm doing that. I'm doing, implementing the PB. It's all very slow, but I want to do it right. So it's, client by client, but as for the business side, so when I have a break from the PB implementing, I'll go to your webinars and I might have to rewatch them because I look and think, okay, that was a while ago, let me get, my head around the chunking or the this or the that or whichever. So I do it slow, but I have gone through the steps. I've got a whole folder. It's very impressive because I feel sometimes I'm more cloud-based, but I still that old school. If I write it down, I remember it. So I like to write things out and then I remember it better, and I'm just slowly working through it. But yes, I do have a budget. I have uploaded that into my accounting software. I do monitor that. I monitor my KPIs with the PB template that is on the thing, and yours, Katrina. So I do a bit of everything because I want to understand the figures and I want to make sure, okay, if I use that template or this one, am I getting the right figure? So, and I break it down to, so now I've taken that information into a master sheet and I break down our income, our expenses, and then I've got our total hours, each staff member, like how many staff member worked, what is our monthly, hourly average, what is our hours monthly, but also our rate per hour. So I know I have a rate per hour and we have different services, so we scale the services. So I want to make sure that my minimum is above our bookkeeping rate, if that makes sense, because consolidating them all. So I like to get that up there. So which means we're doing more of the high end things rather than just the data entry. And then there's months where we might have non-chargeable hours, so I need to monitor that too. If there's software issues, I don't feel we should be on charging the client, and so that drags down my average hourly rate if we have a lot of non-chargeable.
Yeah, that's great. That sounds exactly what's on the pure bookkeeping KPI sheet around the chargeable hours, and what we're trying to do is get the staff's KPIs up to be, as high as possible, 85, 90, 95%, contractors to 100%. And then for yourself as an owner, we want to start getting your chargeable hours down.
Yes, I want to work less. So I'm still doing 80% working in the business. So I still, so I do all those reports. I think I'm doing that correctly, but I'm not doing it as often. I really would like to do that weekly. I want to see what happens at the end of the week, and see where we're going. I feel like sometimes the end of the month, well, it's too late. The month's already passed.
Yeah.
I'm not, is that recommended? Am I overdoing it, or?
No, I don't think so. As I, in 2007, like, I was in dire straits financially. The business, I had lost sight of those numbers. So I'd lost track of them. I was busy with doing a whole bunch of other stuff. I put on staff. I actually made decisions, but they were the wrong ones. So I put on staff. I was going away for my first holiday in I don't know how many years. And so in the lead up to that, I thought, let's put on a staff member, and there wasn't enough work for her. I had an admin person who was non-billable hours. I had too many overheads, and I made these decisions. It was a conscious decision, but they were the wrong decisions. The business could not support that. And when I got back from my 3 weeks, I then found myself in dire situation financially, and had to actually loan the business money personally in order to pay my BAS and things like that. It was a real scary awakening for me, and something that took me the next 12 to 18 months to pull around. And I was religious at that point of tracking every hour that everyone was working and decisions that were being made. And I put off the bookkeeper that I didn't have enough work for. So some massive decisions had to be made within weeks of returning from this short holiday. And I did turn the business around, and thankfully, here we are now, all those years later. But I don't think it's overkill, particularly if you're wanting to control those margins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and especially to maintain or just to monitor, even for a short period of time. You might do it for a month or two, just to see what's going on in the business. And there might be some ups and downs, and it will highlight things as well, whether the staff are working effectively in particular times of the month or on particular jobs as well. So it's not a bad idea to look at them on a weekly basis if you've got a purpose in mind, and you do have to consider what that outcome is of those, what you're monitoring and what you're trying to achieve from that monitoring, rather than just looking at it and going, oh, pass that on, I've ticked that off. Didn't get much out of it. So know what you are monitoring and what the outcome is that you want from that as well.
And although we talk about we've been talking about hours and billable hours and all that sort of thing, and I know, Katrina, we're going to be talking about value pricing, and that's where bookkeepers need to be. But I still maintain that you need to know where people are spending their time. So your staff, have they worked on a client's file, or have they done other things? Have they done admin work? That was another thing I banned. No one was allowed to do any admin work or unbillable hours unless it was approved by me if they were working on a particular project.
Well, we're on fixed fee. We're on fixed fee and value pricing, so I have to monitor. The hours are helping with the payroll side and everything, but it does help me reconcile to the customers, fixed fee. Yes. So I have to keep an eye on that. I have to know that, we're either, we're in the clear or we're well under or whichever. So I need to address that. And I think financially we're okay. I think I do the opposite, that I do too much of the work to stop outsourcing it, save the money, because Debbie, I was in your situation in my first business a long time ago in hairdressing, and I couldn't sleep. Like, it was just awful. You know, every time the phone rang, someone's asking for money. So I vowed I'd never get in that situation. So I'm in the complete opposite. You know, anything's due, it get paid straight away. I need to know what's left, and I keep thinking I'll put money aside to employ someone. So when I do, a full-timer, whichever, another full-timer, I've got that money there, you know, in my little nest egg to cover their wages if they don't have enough work. But it's that leap now of, gosh, got to find someone. Will I have to be doing the work myself? So it's not a financial thing that I find. It's more of I think it's a control now. I need to step back to do more of the business. I don't do any sales. I don't do marketing, networking. You know, trying to, but I don't feel like I don't sell, you know, I don't sell at all. So I feel that that's where my downfall is.
And it is important to build those hours into your week. And for new businesses starting up, they should at least use a half a day a week, at least 3 hours a week on working on their business. And as you develop, as your business grows, then that time needs to increase. It needs to, as you put staff on, it needs to be 1 day a week. And as you keep growing up, you need to push more and more of your work over to your staff so that you can spend 3 days a week on your business. So it's developing the systems, building those foundations and maintaining those foundations that you should already have by then if you've got a few staff on. You know, onboarding, looking for new opportunities, joint ventures, marketing, all of those activities, which are now different to being the technician, but you need to find the time to do that. And to be able to do that, you need to push the work down the line to your staff.
And Helen, this was another KPI that I used on my KPI report, because as you moving up the income ladder, if you like, or the belts that we use in pure bookkeeping, there has to come a point where you are doing it, provided your business is profitable, you are doing less and less billable hours and setting it up, as Katrina has said. And I had a KPI number in there to actually get down to 0 billable hours. And each month I would actually have to put that number in. So, because Pete would be going, why are you still doing billable hours? And the way he explained it to me was that my time as the business owner, as the leader of my business, is worth triple what I could get charging out doing the bookkeeping, triple or quadruple, you know, like just so it's so far more valuable, your expertise in running your business, in putting on new clients, you know what they want, you know how to solve their problems, and you're spending your time in the weeds getting the job done. Yes, there is that bit of a fear about, I don't want to end up the way I was before, but if you structure it correctly and have that profitability, then, and you do it in little bits at a time, but you actually set a goal to, by this stage, I'm going to drop down to this many hours. By this stage, I'm going to, my goal, it's like setting a financial goal. You're actually setting an hour goal, and gradually you're dropping the number of billable hours that you do.
Is it okay to want to still work in that with the clients though? Like, you're smiling, Katrina. Like, I don't do the data entry anymore, but I do the problem things. I design invoices for the clients, you know, in Xero, or I design, you know, we grab so many reports and I put them onto Excel, and I don't know, like it's I guess the advanced bookkeeping, I guess, I don't know, but it's more, I think I do more their administration advanced work, and I kind of like that. I like that I can help people solve those problems or redesign their P&L in Xero and all that kind of thing. And
I had said the exact same thing to Pete many years ago, and I said, look, I really like bookkeeping. You know, what's the problem with that? Why can't I just keep a few clients? And he said, Deb, if you love bookkeeping that much, then you go and find a charity that you are passionate about and go and do pro bono work because you love it so much and you're passionate about it and you're passionate about this particular charity. go and do pro bono work for them in your own time. But in your business, you're running a business. And so you focus on, I am the leader of my business. And also we're talking about your end game. You know, this is, it's not to say, I'm not saying you can't, we absolutely want you to do things that you love, but be careful that you're not disguising that with the fear that you have about letting go of control. So it can sometimes be that we say something, but the underlying thing is actually, if I'm completely truthful with myself, and Pete had this amazing knack of being able to peel back the layers of the onion and get down to what I was really afraid of, essentially. And once you face that, then you've actually got something to deal with.
I know what mine is. I had a staff member. I've had one for a long time who I've known for 20 years, and I had another one who I didn't know and thought I went through the right process and seemed to give me the impression she just knew so much more. So whatever she did, I would spend 3 times as much fixing up. And I couldn't see the point of that. And it went on for far too long because I thought, no, she'll learn more, she'll get better, I'll persevere. And in the end, I just spent too many hours, fixing things up. So I thought, what's the point? I'll just do it myself firsthand. And I'm talking, I could do that work in an hour that it would take her 2-3 hours to do, and me to try and find what she's done and stumble across. So I was looking at 1 hour opposed to spending 5 combined hours. So that's my fear. I don't think I'm happy to train and handwork over, but if I'm going to be fixing it, that's
with obviously that comes back to then finding the right bookkeeper, and with the skills test and things like that, it comes down to the HR process. Or if you're offshoring, there's TOA, that have got all their processes in place to find the good bookkeepers. It is essentially like fundamentally is being able to find that person that is already skilled. And then you build the training on top of that. And I've made exactly the same mistakes. Recruited the wrong people, spent months training them, coming back into the office after, doing work on site with clients and things like that, coming back exhausted, and then having to spend the next 3 hours trying to find, the words that you used, you're actually digging down, trying to find where they've actually mucked up. And I've been there and done that. And the solution was, you've got to recruit well. So you've got to recruit those experienced bookkeepers, and then they do the PB training program, and then they use all our checklists and what have you.
And that was the design of the pure bookkeeping. That was that's the impetus of the pure bookkeeping, was to ensure that the staff are trained the right way and act with best practice processes. But it is identifying the staff that you do need as well, and identifying the skills that you need from them and their abilities that you need from them. So hiring right from the start, putting them through the process. So it's, I always used to tell me this should not be difficult. This is not rocket science. You find a good staff, you give them great processes, and you give them clients that appreciate and pay well. And you organise, the whole thing, and you are the person that sits back and maintains and has that helicopter view of all of that happening to build that successful, scalable business, profitable business.
Helen, part of this, I think, comes back to, which we're not going to cover today, and we've talked about a lot, your vision and where you want to be in 5 years' time, and what is it that you're actually building, and are you building a business to, the grow, profit, exit. I think, is that next week we're going to be talking about exiting.
The exiting,
So it's, what is your game plan, your big plan? Yes, that's it. There's a bit of a plug there.
I've got them all here on my shelf.
yes. And so it is about thinking, well, what is because Katrina went in and said, I am going to grow a profitable business and exit in 5 years. So with that in mind, every decision she made at that point, after that point in time, that decision that she made was to get her to that end game in 5 years. And she did exactly what she planned on doing. So So it's whether you exit softly, a soft exit being you're now only working 2 days a week, you're doing the work that you love, so you're helping those clients, or you're doing the reporting or whatever it is that you love to do, and the business is profitable, if the systems are in place, and when, you know, if the 5 year, if that's the goal, your business is actually worth something to another person who's looking to buy a systematized business that's profitable, that's independent of you.
I find, if I can just relate back to the books, because I have yours here too, Debbie. At the moment. I find it's almost like you read them and then I go back and I reread, and I do that too. It's sort of like that little bit of a push again, you know, yes, this is the focus, get back on track, you know, keep on the track kind of thing. When you forget, when you work alone and you don't have someone close by to spin those ideas off and, you know, come back to the office and say, okay, are we on track? I find books like that help you stay there. So I think if people don't have them, they should buy them, and if not, keep reading them, keep referring back to them, because they do just reinstate where you want to go. And I think that's, you know, you read them, you remember them, but sometimes you forget, you know, and that just reinforces it again.
And you take out of them what you are ready to learn. So when you read a book a second time, you get another insight out of it. I know I used to read 1 Minute Manager, which is how to lead staff and empower them to, you know, be independent of you. And I used to read that over and over again. It's like it's a 1 hour read type of thing, but it was just, it told a story, and it was just quite insightful. So every time I'd read it, I'd get another thought process, or, okay, now I'm going to build that, you know, activity or action or, you know, whatever into into the business. So yeah, it's like peeling an onion. When you're ready to learn the next thing, excuse me, that's how it works.
And it's a bit like when if you decide you're going to buy something. So let's say you want to upgrade your car and you're going to get a Subaru or something like that, and suddenly, as soon as that you start thinking and focusing on that, you might Google it and you get pictures and you look at the specifications and all of that, but suddenly you notice that when you're out and about driving, you're seeing all these Subarus on the road, but it's not that there are so many Subarus suddenly, it's just that you're noticing it because it's now come into your conscious. And that's what Katrina's referring to, that we can read a book and it's back, some points of it are back here because you haven't really thought about it, your thinking is not at that point. So then when you read it again and you've done a bit of growing and you've read other things, you then go, oh yeah, I get that, what they're saying now.
Yeah, and that's a whole other topic, that whole mindset thing.
Don't get me started.
No. So I guess we could move on to the pricing, the fixed fee and value pricing. And I guess there's such a big topic in this that we will do more individual ones around this. But it's in this episode of profitability, just being aware of your invoicing and, you know, moving away from the hourly so that we can build efficiencies into our workflows so that we can continue to get the same amount of income from the client and give the same amount of value and service to the client, but reducing the workload. So we want to move away from our hourly to a fixed and value pricing. And it's a journey. It's not something that you can go, okay, I'm now on hourly, I'm going to move across to value. How do I do it? I need all that understanding instantly. It is a journey. It is, again, that onion. It is doing the first stage. And I know for me, although it was like 5-7 years ago or more now, when I started to get into the fixed fee type of arena, I started to productize my prices. So, you know, a BAS was a certain price rather than an hourly. Each one of my, you know, activities, my end of year, my TPAR, WorkSafe was an activity. So it had a price on it. So that was my first journey into it. And then you look at, you know, your monthly figures per client, and then you turn them into a fixed fee, have the communication, the conversations with the client, and then, you know, keep learning. Like, you know, I guess that's the main takeaway from today, is to keep learning, keep doing professional development, personal development, to move those conversations away from hourly and why you are valued and are capable or, you know, able to get that amount of money, you know, adding more value, having that conversation of getting people away from, you know, just paying on an hour. They're now paying on a, you know, the same amount per month, giving them that confidence, that reason why. So it's a learning, and there's a lot of learnings around it. And we're actually doing Implement Value Pricing by Ron Baker and our book club at the end of the month. For the next 2 months, we're doing that one because it's such a big book. So, you know, join us around that journey of implementing value pricing, because it's the start of the process and you'll move towards that.
Yeah.
Helen, I'd be interested to know how you moved from hourly to fixed to value, because you're doing a bit of both. You're on mute at the moment.
I never know what's going to happen in the background.
Yeah.
Okay, so pretty much what you just said, I looked at it on a yearly basis, and because we do the same clients all the time, so I knew I had the figures there to work that back. So yearly, monthly, because we don't always do the same, you know, the bookkeeping's every month, but then there's things that we'll do, like we prepare the FBT return and we do all the NDE. So that's not, you know, included in that month. So I looked at everything that we service for the client and then just worked it back to a monthly fee from there. And I bumped it up 10%.
Yeah.
You know, on that same year. So because I thought, no, in case something comes about, and, you know, so I just, yeah, I didn't get it 100% right the first year. Some I did, some are great, others I didn't. But I just decided, no, I'll wear that cost because I could. And it wasn't, you know, it was a cost that I could wear. It was a little bit here and there, but it just made us really work towards the available hours that we had. You know, and I think that was a good thing too. So that's why I like to monitor the hours we're doing, because I remind the girls, this is what we've got. You know, we've only got this. It's like a budget. You've only got X amount of money. That's all you get to spend. So I would say to them, this is all you've got to work on it. So, you know, make it as efficient and still as accurate as possible. So, yeah, it's a work in progress. This July was when we would review everything. Because of COVID, I just, you know, had all notices on, let clients know that it won't be reviewed until September. So now this is my month that I need to go back and review. So, and I just created a spreadsheet that has all our services, what I would like, how long they take. I still worked it back to an hourly rate because I thought that's just sometimes easier to work on. But also then I converted the time to what I want to be paid for that. So for instance, like JobKeeper, that's how, outside of everything we did, because that was just something we hadn't planned for, I actually just said, okay, each application is going to be X amount. And, you know, it didn't matter. I didn't say to a client, well, it's going to take me X amount of time. I just said, sure, I can help you set up JobKeeper. This is what it will cost. I'll send the proposals through now. So it just, they didn't question an hourly rate. It wasn't about that. To them, I was offering the service for JobKeeper, and that was the price. It was a fixed fee, end of story. So it was just easier. And I think that's with all new clients, we just went straight into the fixed fee. And I did say, you know, we anticipate this. I made it higher because new clients, you spend more time, you're learning the business. And I said it will be evaluated in 3 months' time. Because especially with a new client, I know a lot of bookkeepers say, oh, just charge them hourly for 3 months and bill them. But you don't know, are they going to pay? I don't want to be chasing these new people. I don't know that much about them that I trust them, to be honest. I mean, I've done the work. I want to be paid. So I want to lock in that direct debit. That's my you know, go-to. I thought, no, I'm paying for practice ignition. I want to get my benefit out of it. And I don't want the admin of doing the invoices. And as I said to clients, if we charge you too much, we will evaluate. We've got our timing noted. We know what we've done. We know how long it's taken. I'm not going to rip anyone off, but at the same time, they will see what they're getting in that time that we're new to them, so to speak. So I think, and I've never had someone come back and say, okay, lower it, do this or do that. So new clients has been easy. The existing clients, not as easy, but, they're slowly moving because I've just said, this is how we do it now. We don't do it any other way. We don't, and it's keeping, my initial thing was, direct debits, keep my price down. I'm not spending 3 hours admin every Saturday morning doing my invoicing. So if you want that, your price to be, in comparison to what it's been, then this is the way to go. If you want it to be hourly, then it's going to bump to this, because it was costing me more to produce these weekly invoices. So
exactly. Yeah.
Like I said, it was a learning thing. I didn't get it always right, but it's fine tuning. That's all. So so my spreadsheet does have my overhead costs also built into that price. The fees are there. So once I punch in the numbers of what a new client tells me they need, X amount of bookkeeping or whichever, it will spit out the fixed fee per month for me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's awesome. That's
correct. Yeah.
Great place to start is, analysing the annual and the monthly and putting a price on it, and then monitoring it and building that out and getting some history and the numbers, so that when you do get new clients, you've got historical data of how to price and scope the new work that comes in. So it is a process, and that's why I said right at the start, don't expect to have it right the first time. It's a work in progress, but move towards it, get started. And we've got some, I know in our library of webinars that we've got a lot of things around fixed fees and packaging and, those type of things. To just keep educating, do some YouTubes. Mark Wickersham's YouTubes are awesome around value pricing. Just keep learning and just asking other bookkeepers as well. So it's really important to find out what others are doing and keeping yourself accountable. Make sure that you're doing something every month in moving towards that. And like a lot of people are fearful of starting, so we encourage you just to get started. Is the great place to start. Now the third one we're going to talk about is margins. So we won't take too much time in talking around the margins, but I just wanted to point out, make sure that you have got the staffing and the work that they do right. So if you've got BAS agents or high quality bookkeepers doing receipt bank scanning or receipt bank or HubDoc processing, doing basic processing, basic reconciliation, basic admin, then analyze that, monitor that your BAS agents, your quality staff should be doing reviewing, supervising BAS preparation, not the actual bookkeeping. So just consider the cost of your staff versus the income that you're earning from that activity that's happening. Deb, did you have a KPI on that, or how did you manage that in your business?
I managed it a little bit differently because there wasn't Receipt Bank or HubDoc or those sort of automations. So our bookkeepers weren't all BAS agents, but they were all trained up to the same high standard. So they were all doing BAS, all doing the reconciliation, but it was all very data entry and getting that right and what have you. I think running a business, bookkeeping business these days with the automation, you definitely can have admin staff doing scanning of receipts and managing Receipt Bank. You can even, again, differently to the way I ran my business, where I assigned a client to a bookkeeper, and that bookkeeper might have had 6 clients or whatever number it was. Whereas the way you can split the work up now is by level, of complexity. So if you can have your admin people doing your Receipt Bank and your HubDoc and things like that, you can, Helen, with all the 3 phases of implementing the system, we've got the setting up the reports and the software optimization. That could be done, certainly setting up the reports could be done by an admin person, someone that you're paying less. You don't need a BAS agent to be setting up the reports in Xero or QBO. So I think you run businesses differently now, and it's really analysing what level of bookkeeper that you need to complete a particular task. And it might be that you have a receipt bank specialist who does all the scanning for all your clients, across this way. So rather than having one person responsible for one client, it's run differently now, for sure.
Yeah.
The receipt bank is Master 14.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Because we don't do client scanning. The clients have all got that down pat. We don't see their paperwork, but internally, I have my husband's civil construction business. He has a lot of dockets, a lot of scanning. So the boys do that. Yeah, I'm too busy to do that.
Exactly.
You're overskilled.
Yeah,
but you're overskilled, Helen. Sorry. I was going to say, Helen, you're overskilled to be scanning receipt bank documents.
Absolutely. So that's their job.
Exactly. Yeah. It's amazing the amount of bookkeepers that I talk to when we go through that spreadsheet. Helen, you might be familiar with it in the mastery course of the staff hours by client. And they see that their quality, bookkeepers that they're paying $30, $35 an hour are doing a lot of level 1 stuff. So it's quite, shocking to analyse what's actually in the office, who's doing it, and then what can be tweaked so that, that you might need to put a junior on or a trainee on or a TOA staff on to do more of the grunt work so that those quality bookkeepers can move up and do some of the quality work, which allows you then to go off and do more advisory work or get off the books a bit more so that you can work on your business. So it's just coming to that realization rather than just sitting in a rut or in busyness, and still not making money, which a lot of bookkeepers, still, talk about. So, that's the idea of this particular session, was around the profitability. Just become aware of what's going on inside your business so you can make your business a lot more profitable, to give you the financial freedom for you to be able to create your ideal business and the life of your dreams, which is what, we are all about. Awesome. So I think we had better jump off to allow our weekly support call to get started for our licensees. So wonderful to have you join us today, Helen. Thank you so much.
I'll see you in 15 minutes. I'm going to knock off now to get to the next one. So coffee break. Thank you, ladies.
Thanks, Helen. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Helen. And we've had some comments on the Facebook group as well. So continue popping on the Facebook group, the Successful Bookkeeper Australia, making some comments around this video, what you are doing to make your business profitable, to share your ideas and experience with others. That's, always greatly appreciated when people share their ideas. It's not just us knowing everything. Bookkeepers are doing a fabulous job out there, and we want to continue to encourage them and inspire them. So thanks, Deb, for joining me today as usual.
My pleasure. Thanks, Katrina.
Have a wonderful afternoon, and we'll see you all around the community somewhere. Bye for now.
Bye.